My name is Steve Layton, and I travel the world finding amazing and delicious coffee for you to drink at home. Some make coffee difficult to understand and complicated, but here it's my job to make it easy and fun and tell you what's in my mug. Hello everyone and welcome to In My Mug. Yes, thank you for joining me as always. News! We have a very special gift pack coming up for Christmas. There's going to be more over the next few weeks, but if you are looking for the present for that coffee fan in your life, hang on in there just for a couple of weeks. It's going to be pretty special. We should talk about this week's coffee. This week's coffee comes from Costa Rica, and the coffee I for the last couple of years been calling Monte Burns because it's called Monte Brisas and it just kind of fits. But it has a very, very complicated long name. So we should start with why it's called what it is. Well, the mill is called Monte Brisas. The farm is called Finca Salaca. And it is a typical varietal. And unlike in previous years, this is a naturally processed coffee, not one of the honeys that they do. So it's quite cool to be able to share this one with you. It is a tiny lot. It's an experimental lot. It is an exclusive for anybody who subscribes to In My Mug. So if you're not an In My Mug subscriber, then you can't try this coffee. And that just tells you should be a subscriber. You should sign up and get the coffees every week. But the coffee comes from the Western Valley, from the region of Zarcero. The mill is extremely close to Gillio, who's a coffee that we've had before. We've had Finca Salaca. But this Salaca is located at 1,750 metres above sea level and is owned by Luis Salazar. Only has a total of 12 hectares, which is actually quite a lot in Costa Rica, of which 11 are for coffee production and 1 hectare is the family house and the cupping lab and the processing and drying tables. The family have been farming for years, for around about 50 years, but Monte Brisas, which is the name, Monte Burns, is a new mill. I think this is its 4th year of production. I've visited a couple of times now. They have a very small amount of coffee coming through that mill, and they a few years ago they didn't even have enough to sell me, but after I visited they promised to save me some, and now they've started to do these other experimental lots, which is very, very exciting. So what we should do, we should go and do focus on, but at the end of the focus on, fact file, we don't do focus on anymore, fact file. At the end of the fact file I'm going to show you a little video from Luis as well, so you can kind of get to meet him. So welcome to this week's fact file. Figures may change because we may have got it wrong, but we're looking down to Costa Rica. So here we are, the beautiful country of Costa Rica, and 93,000 hectares are devoted to coffee, which it's a lot. It's a good coffee producer. It's the 13th biggest coffee producer. I hope that isn't unlucky for them. But here we have the total coffee production around about 1.8 million bags, which is around 108,000 metric tons. So again, heaps of coffee. Common varietals, well, you find things like Caturra, Mundanovu, Catai, Villasacci, Bourbon. I mean, they really do play with varietals there. A lot of geishas too. Coffee's grown 1,000 to 1,700 metres above sea level, roughly. Some do go a little higher. We have 18 farms that we work with at Has Been with Costa Rica, so again, fairly impressive. Well, let's look at the Finca Salaca stuff. So, micromill is Monte Brisas, farmer is Luis Salazar, 12 hectare farm, Villasacci, Caturra and Typica, altitude 750 metres, and the region is Zarcero, the fact. So, why honeys? First of all, so what challenges does it pose, and what do you enjoy about making these honey processed coffees?
¿Por qué mieles? Primero que nada, y qué es lo que te reta a producir mieles y qué es lo que te encanta producir mieles.
Bueno, sí, es un reto, realmente es difícil.
It's a real challenge. It's very difficult.
Pero es muy gratificante, muy bonito cuando uno ya lo logra, o sea, ya tiene el producto en la mano.
It's gratifying to when you make it and when the product is already in your hand.
Y cuando ya lo catan y obtiene un buen resultado, pues todavía uno se siente más satisfecho y más contento.
And even better when you receive feedback that the cupping went very well, like you did today.
So, black honeys pose their own unique challenges. What's the hardest thing about making a black honey?
Con respecto al miel negra, que te trae algunos retos, ¿cuáles son los retos que vos considerás para producir miel negra, café miel negra, black honey?
Bueno, el que logre hacerse negra, se ocupa que una vez que está oreado, necesitamos guardarlo allá en aquella bodeguita las noches para que él logre y vaya tomando el color.
So one of the practices we've noticed is that with the black honey, to be able to get that color, we have to store it in the garage back there, under shade. So we combined sun drying and shade drying.
En las noches cuando lo agrupamos o lo amontonamos es donde va tomando el color.
And at night, when we put those hills of coffee together under the shade in the garage, that's where it starts to take that black color.
How long has he and his family been involved in coffee, and what problems have been faced kind of recently with changing markets and things?
¿Cuánto tiene tu familia de estar en café? Tus abuelos, tus bisabuelos?
50 años.
50 years or more. ¿Y cuáles han sido, digamos, los grandes retos que han encontrado con respecto a precios y a crisis y que montaron el microbeneficio? ¿Hace cuánto?
Bueno, precisamente por las crisis de los precios y con la idea de, bueno, mi mamá es enamorada del proceso.
My mom is in love with coffee and of the farm and the process of coffee. And due to the crisis, we decided to establish a micromill.
Pero para poder hacer la actividad rentable, decidimos entrar a esto a ver si logramos sobrevivir en el mercado.
And to be able to see this as a profitable business, we decided to put the micromill and start positioning our coffee in the niche markets.
Porque si no, de la otra forma, la actividad, o sea, tendríamos que eliminarla, no podríamos.
Because the other way, which is just producing cherry and delivering cherry, we will need to eliminate the activity, eliminate the coffee plants.
Entonces decidimos iniciar hace 4 años.
We decided 4 years ago.
Para ver si logramos hacer sostenible la actividad
so we can make this a sustainable activity.
Y poder continuar con la tradición familiar.
And so we can be able to continue with the family tradition of growing coffee.
And how successful has that been like selling to micro roasters like us and other roasters? Has it been successful and saved?
¿Vos consideras que ha sido efectivamente un buen cambio y ha sido hasta cierto punto positivo el venderle al nicho de mercado a microtostadores?
Sí.
Yes. And where else is his coffee sold?
¿Dónde se va tu café? Japón, Corea,
Inglaterra,
Korea, England, Japan, Norway, Australia, US.
And what does he think about all these crazy people turning up to come and look at his farm?
¿Y qué piensa usted de todos estos tostadores locos que vienen a conocer su proceso y su finca?
Excelente.
I can say nothing else.
Excellent.
Gracias, muchas gracias. So as you can see, Luis is a very cool guy, very motivated to do quality, really wants to improve the farm. To get a better idea of where the farm is at, we should go to this week's map bit. So here we are, Has Been Coffee, up and away, across that Atlantic, and over we go to Costa Rica. So let's focus down to Costa Rica. Some of those texts are quite big, aren't they? Costa Rica, locks on houses, doors and gates almost always work backwards. Almost. That's a good cop-out, isn't it? That's just like the fact file thingy, focus on, whatever it's called now. But let's scroll down to Finca Salaca. Finca Salaca here. We've gone past Okay, highest point is Cerro Chirapiro, which is 3,810 metres. Lowest point is the Pacific Ocean. Hopefully we'll get a chance just to whiz round. There we go, look at that. And there we go, Finca Salaca. So in the valley, protected from the winds, but has enough kind of sun and all the rest of it to make that great. Here we go, this is Luis from Finca Salaca. Here's some of the honeying that they had going, and yeah, just some of the processing. This isn't a honey, of course, this is a natural, but I thought this would be worth showing you. These are the honeys, the white honeys drying. Here's the view of the farm from high up. It really is super close to the town, and that was the map bit. Okay, so we're back, and I dive into the brewed coffee. Love these mugs. They've got a weird shaped bottom from Loveramics. Really enjoying them. And look at my red tie and my Chemex. You should be impressed. I quite like red. I don't know if you've noticed. So this is... I say this every time we get a natural, and partly it's because it's what I'm always looking for in a natural, but it's very clean. It doesn't have any of those barnyardy taste to it. It does have like a pruny taste to it. So think tinned prunes. It's got that really kind of like fruity but kind of chewy flavour to it. And quite apt for this time of year. A little bit of a Christmas cake kick to it as well. It's kind of just like chewy and mouthfeel and thick and viscous. It's very, very cool. I really like the whole mouthfeel part of it. Okay, let's get him up. He's been gone for a while, but Roland's daft fact. The town of Zarcero only has a population of 4,000, but in the town square it has some very interesting topiary of animals. It's true. What Roland talks about there is true. The town of Zarcero does have topiary in some very weird looking animals. Search Zarcero and topiary and you'll understand exactly what I mean. Very, very odd shapes indeed. Right, I'm going to call for my cappuccinos. Where's my cappuccino? Honestly, you can't get the staff. Like, I asked for cappuccinos, I asked for red cups, I got black cups, my cappuccino's taken for ages. I'm going to sack Chris Glover Price. I'm not, he's lovely really. He pulled them and they weren't quite right, so he re-pulled them. I was expecting him to follow me through once I brought this in. So, let's dive straight into the espresso. And the espresso is just like super, 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 super sweet. That Christmas cake is there again, but it is like brown sugar sweet. It's really got like toasted flavour to it. Great espresso. Really good. I haven't had espresso for a couple of days as well. I've missed that. Into the milk, and I think it's really going to work well here. And I'm not disappointed. It does work really well here. You get a lot of that sticky kind of Christmassy cake flavour coming through. And those prunes are elements. Like the prunes weren't here so much. It's weird. They are here and they really were there. But it's very specific tin prunes. That kind of sweet, sticky prune. But that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. And do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.